the millennial generation starting to give up because they can't afford to get a good job or own a house.
8 million Venezuelans voting for this assembly, saying it's actually less than 3.
It is. And people are going to start rioting in the streets.
Was reported to have asked Putin for military support that would help him stay in power.
We will make America safe again. And yes, together, we will make America great again.
And they ignore him. And 8 more years goes by till Bernie himself finally admits to his sons, hey, I've been running a Ponzi scheme.
Does its dominance mean it can use the alliance for its own ends?
Since 1981, bond yields, also known as coupon rates, have just gone down and down and down.
Federal Reserve note will be your biggest financial liability. RTD Live Talk, Wednesday night, the 12th day of the month of September. We are live, and so you guys are joining the Detroit's #1 YouTube talk show. And so I'm looking forward to finding out, getting your thoughts on the survey question today and sharing the results with you guys. And so I was, my thought process was that it'll probably be somewhere near 50-50-ish, but you never know. And so we're going to, I'm going to try to use that format more often where I come up with some type of survey as well as pose a question to you guys and see if you guys want to chime in on the topic for the evening via a survey question. And so as always, give it a second before we begin chit-chatting tonight. But more importantly, if any new viewers tuning in to RTD Live Talk, welcome to the channel. Let me know where you're chiming in from. And then we can get this party started, as well as the fact I want to get your thoughts on the video I did earlier in reference to the subject matter that we're going to start hearing more about, I'm sure. And it's the universal basic allowance or the universal basic income that is proposed by current mayor Ron Emanuel on his way out. So it's interesting how he's not going to run again for mayor, but yet he's going to come up with a way to fight poverty by borrowing. We'll see how that works. But anyway, so how's everybody doing this evening? Let me know in the chat, man. What's going on in your world? Anything new? Anything happened today worthy of talking about before we get into the nitty gritty of this live stream, which is going to be the survey results. And then also probably come up with a different format to basically get your thoughts on what could be some good conversation topics via survey. And also the primary reason I thought about using a survey was just to be able to reach out to a few more people. If people feel led to, to share their opinion on a survey and they want to reshare it or whatnot, perhaps we can get some newbies out here that aren't quite aware of what's happening around them, especially with their monetary system, to join us. And so with that being the case, what are your thoughts on the video from earlier? Universal basic allowance. That's the word I gave it. I think it was maybe a couple months ago during a live stream. I was trying to come up with the word, and so I think it was either I came up with the word or somebody in the audience came up with the word. And so it's not a universal basic income, because usually income is referred to the fact that you have to earn your keep. But when it's given to you supposedly for free, then it's actually an allowance. Kind of similar to when you're a child. You got an allowance just for being obedient sometimes, but then if you did extra work, you got a little bit more, however you guys might have done it. And so what else we got? It says seems like a planted agent. That's so who we talk about Ron Emanuel. So yeah, Ron Emanuel, man, he's I believe he's part of the whole even in the article it mentioned that he wanted to somehow save his progressive legacy. And just the word progressive was introduced to me today, and that whole movement of that actually in and of itself being a school of thought, sort of kind of tied into the whole globalist type of agenda. So when I saw the word progressive, I'm thinking like, yeah, progressive tends to mean bigger government, less freedom, stuff like that. But yeah, we'll see. That's the thing. It will not work, because here's the thing: they already strapped for. And the pension numbers was outrageous there. And they are doing their best to try to address the issue as if there's actually going to be a viable solution to what has been labeled a pension crisis. And so we are witnessing right now the debts due, for the most part, on anything that was promised or any legislation that was passed to paper over or cover over a problem that happened decades ago, such as the Great Depression, when they came out with the Social Security income and whatnot. And then we have the New Deal, all the things that came from Lyndon B. Johnson's proposal on making this country better than everybody else. And that was the whole idea of student loans and college and things like that. So all those promises are due. And the problem is the American people are tapped out. So beyond the central bank getting involved and intervening with more easing of some kind, or just universal basic income, they're running out of options here. So what else we got going on? Nothing is free. Very true. Nothing is free at all. It says a red heifer was born, and apparently the religious people think it's a fulfilling prophecy of the third Jerusalem temple. All they want is a reason for one more war. Wow. So a red heifer was born, probably artificially appearing. So that's I wasn't aware of that information. And so I am aware of the idea that until there's a new temple built, I'm assuming on the same Temple Mount, where the Antichrist and his regime will set up, his governmental structure in that exact spot. That's kind of the time. That's the end times that is referenced in the Bible. So as of now, there's no temple on that location. And so it's in formation, I do believe. I believe the powers that be they're working towards that. I do believe that. And so that's why Jerusalem and Israel has always been a hot topic for the world. Period. Flat out. And it's going to be, it's the smallest, like the size of New Jersey, but the world, the world, predominantly the Middle East and Eastern neighbors hate them some Hebrews. But that's on another subject matter. And so what else we got here? It says people just wanted to work their jobs and live their lives and be left alone. Yeah, that's like saying, can we just all get along? But unfortunately, we can't, because there's different agendas that do their best to make sure that people can't just, live comfortably, enjoy their life, work hard, and, bring value into this world. It's other people who want to milk you dry. And that's what this all about. It's all about control. It says, give them enough bread and circus, and the people won't rise up. They'll just, what did it say? Just boil. I gotta enlarge this on my screen. It's hard to read. Okay, so yeah, boil. Oh, via inflation. Yeah. It says government has no business dictating what people will have and not have. I do agree 100%. It says a great harlot is about to go down. In due time, the embassy is the new temple. That's a good one there. That is a good one there. The embassy is the new temple. I never thought about that, El Monte. That's a good one there. Gotta look into that a little further. That's a good call. It says red heifer equals pure red cow, virgin and under 3 years, used to cleanse the temple. Clock is ticking now. 3 years unless they go the cloning route. We getting biblical here. We getting scriptural here. Man, yeah, that's definitely some revelation type knowledge there. I think even Daniel mentioned it in his vision. It says, what's your take on the Sheffield Study Bible? Good point there. I am not even familiar with that version. So actually, since I'm on here, let me look it up and see what the Sheffield Bible version is, because I've never. Schofield Bible. Okay. Let me see. Say reference. Schofield Reference Bible is a widely circulated study Bible, edited and annotated by the American Bible Study Cyrus the First. Yeah, I am not familiar with it at all. Let me see if I can open it up, because one problem I might have is that all it takes is the altering of one word that can change a whole sentence, that can change the whole meaning of of Scripture, which can then lead to biblical and scriptural error, which can then lead people astray. And so that's one of the things where all the biblical versions we're reading are all transcribed from the Hebrew or the Greek or whatnot, and so there's different versions, the English version, the NIV, the King James, the Amplified, all those versions there. The Word of God is the Word of God. But I personally, everyone has their own preference of what they eat, what they can read smoother, and what, resonates with their heart and what the Spirit of God is able to pull out of it. So that being the case, I don't know enough about it to actually comment on it, but since it's a question here, and so just to see how and what's inside the version, I'm looking. I'll actually show you my screen. I'm actually looking at Bible.com, and I'm going to their, see what Bible versions they have here. And that particular study Bible is not referenced here. So I have no way of going inside just to check out certain scriptures to see how it might be worded that could change the meaning. So that being the case, I'm not going to comment on that because I don't know. It says, dressed in purple and scarlet with a golden cup, 70 years to the date. The whore upon the many waters, who made the nations drink with her adulteries and fornications. So Chicago can't pay its bills, but it can't offer a universal allowance. That's funny. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like, it's a task force that's designed to study and see what a survey, what they could do with 100 people, or 1,000 people. And I'm thinking, like, how long is the trial going to last? And then where's the funds going to come from? Because if they talk about getting it from the state's not going to give them funds to set up a welfare program and lend them money to bail out the pension element there. So that's not going to happen. It says the federal dollar and Chicago are going down. I do agree, hands on. And so with that being the case, did everyone on here have a chance to check the Twitter and to click yes or no for the survey? So if you have not, beneath this video is a chance for you to check in and just hit the survey button, and then probably towards, we'll give it a couple minutes, give or take, and then we'll go to the results and find out what the public has to say for those who felt the need to comment and share their thoughts on that. And so a lot of people commented all around the survey, but didn't necessarily click the survey. So hit the survey button, yes or no. And so as everybody's chiming in here in the chat, the goal is to position you guys to, you have a very smart audience. So I would love to have you guys share some survey type questions with some answers for me to share with the audience. And perhaps if I pick one of them, we can use it as a survey topic or a RTD Live Talk topic for that evening. So give you a chance to voice your opinion via survey. So I actually have a great one in mind for tomorrow. And so the goal is, and I think it'll be great. And I think the reason I did the survey was I was actually, just working out in the gym, and I was just, doing my thing. And I'm like, man, my thought process is, how can I somehow, some way, reach more people, preferably people who have no clue as to what's going on around them, just to give them some resources. And so from all the interviews I've done, the books, and just all the free material from this website, and being able to connect with them, over during the live stream, I'm thinking, like, let me do a survey and just see what people's thoughts are, put it out there. And then after the fact, I read the question. I'm like, I could have worded that better and probably cleaned it up a little bit more, but it's the very first survey. So, people understand it's the first one. They only get better with time. But anyway, so the goal was like, okay, people, feel led, they can share the survey just to pose a question in their social media feeds, and perhaps draw in a few newbies to this whole monetary alternative media realm, just to get a way to wake more people up. And so overall, I think I'm very pleased with the idea that a lot of people retweeted it and whatnot and shared it, and more people commented, I think, outside via in the comment section to the post I put on Facebook and stuff like that. So a lot of people did see it, so that's a good thing. So the goal is to get the newbies to see it. We gotta get this idea of alternative thinking to more people. So with that being the case, it's all about you guys. Helping get those surveys out, especially if they come from you. Hopefully you'll be willing to share it. But let's move on. As well as number 833 live RTD. Give me a call. Let me know what's on your mind if you want to talk or want to get in depth about that survey there. because I also got a couple of thoughts that came from that survey that I think I want to share with you guys. And so it says UBI is inevitable. Automation is going to make it so easy. Eventually there will be so little people working that money itself will stop having meaning. Ooh, money itself will stop having meaning. So the word money will stop having meaning. That is very interesting there, because I'm thinking like, if no one works and everything is provided for you, you still have to exchange value. You still have to expend energy for something, because where is the economic funds going to come from? And so to say money will not exist, it will not be around in the same form we're used to today, because I believe that the whole cryptocurrency, blockchain technology will be the primary medium of exchange down the line. And eventually it's going to go to some type of biometric, chain or something like that, where our eyes or our thumb or something like that will be what we swipe. But what goes back, something has to go back and forth. If energy is spent, some value has to come back. That's the whole idea of currency. Something has to keep moving at all times. So what it's going to be, we'll know. But I think that leads into the whole survey question as well, as to the Federal Reserve note, because everyone should believe and think that it will come to an end one day. But you guys are going to be surprised at the fact that it's not an overwhelmingly, it is overwhelmingly easy, but yet it's not. And it's more people that probably feel that the dollar will be around a lot longer than what it probably might be, that surprised me. And so we'll get to that in a second. So it says bigger holes in a sinking boat. It says Scofield Study Bible was funded by the Rothschilds to brainwash American Christians to support Israel at whatever cost. Occupy and murdering Palestinians, etc. Definitely research it, Mike. My man, I will. And then if the fact that it's backlinked to that, that family, lets me know that if that is the case, then definitely the words have been changed. The words have been altered, I would imagine. Seems like former industrial cities in this country are doing bad. Yeah, man, that's everywhere. Everywhere where there was some type of manufacturing base, I believe, has been hollowed out, all due to the trade deals that sent everything overseas, all at the idea of big corporate profits. I mean, of course, you can save more money and pay less if you ship it overseas somewhere where they work for pennies on a dollar. And then, that's where we're at now. Hopefully one day we'll get things back here. But I think when we do get things back here in the city, especially in Detroit, if Detroit was to become a manufacturing base again, it won't be on favorable terms. It won't be on those overpriced wages that a lot of the union-based organizations is asking for, like they are now. So I think people will be willing to work a lot cheaper, given this whole monetary restructuring is underway. It says money and currency are two different things. Patrick, break it down for me. Break it down. Ada, it says Digibyte and Litecoin will be the ones. Yeah, Digibyte and Litecoin. Man, there's I'm curious about Digibyte, even though I know it's been around since 2014. There's a lot of Digibyte fans out there. It's a very large community, and so that's very exciting that it has such a supporting community behind it. That lets me know that people are willing to ride that thing down to basically 0.001 of a cent, given the fact it's only 2 cents right now, with a lot of promise to go up, of course, but we'll see. But another Digibyte like coin I like is Smart Cash. I just recently got hipped to Smart Cash and did a little research behind it, and they got some really good development behind their projects there, man. And I think Smart Cash is gonna give Digibyte a run for his money. And also, speaking on Smart Cash at its previous high was close to $2, and so that run up was a test to see what and how that currency would do in the future. And so I think that at being 2.5 cents right now, that would be a heck of a speculation, in my opinion. He says, anyone see Stormy Daniels' facials? This classy lady writing a book about sleeping with Trump. Whoa. She has slept with 2 million men. Wow. Federal Reserve notes survive but the dollar died August 71. Oh, man, that is a good one, Caduce. That was a good one. I like that. Making a distinction between a Federal Reserve note and a dollar. And so if you really want to be technical in reference to the dollar, Federal Reserve note, the distinctions, I would say the dollar died in the 60s. 64, actually about I think 65, once they removed silver from the Roosevelt, I think it was the Kennedy dollar, I think it was. So once silver was removed from that one, the $1, I think it was the Kennedy dollar, yeah. Once the silver was removed from that, that was the official death of what is a constitutional dollar, given that a dollar is a measurement of weight. So in 71, our national currency died and became a fiat debt-based currency. How about that? Let me know if you agree with that. Says Detroit is prime example from Motown to No Town. Yeah, that's very true. But yet, along the freeway area and heading downtown, they are doing a good job of building up for those that are of the higher class. Prices of that area is very high. So yeah, any plans on selling your precious metals when the time is right? Easier to sell rounds, mint, eagles, or hell, even Chinese pandas backed by yuan when they become the monetary standard. So any plans to sell precious metals when the time is right? The answer off the top of my head is no, because based upon the way that's worded, when the time is right, I don't think there will be a right time nowhere in the near future, just because if the Federal Reserve note was to go belly up completely and it became solely a domestic currency, which I believe it has a very good chance of becoming, or they'll issue another domestic currency. Because think about this, okay? Here I hinted on this before, but right now the world measures the value of their currency in reference to the Federal Reserve note, aka the dollar. And so, whenever you see exchange rates, it's always how many euros can you get for a dollar, or but how many pesos can you get for a dollar? How many pound for a dollar? How many this for a dollar, for a dollar, for a dollar? One day there's gonna come a time where we won't be the measuring stick. We won't be the measuring tool to measure, the monetary system. So it might be how many pesos can you get for yuan, or how many pesos can you get for a gram of gold, or that basket of currency. So basically, when the measuring tools change, there will be no real need for people to even hold dollars. So there's going to be some other international monetary exchange of value, hence what it's always been prior to the last 100 years, which has been gold. And so all the central banks around us and governments accumulating gold just for the purpose of preserving their own wealth as well as their own currencies, but being able to start that new system going back and forth with gold, probably in a digital form, of course. But that leaves us out because, if all dollars do come back or the debt is cleansed, so however that is, that means any financial contract or anything will be wiped away, because those are all backed by, quote unquote, that dollar symbol sign, which will not be worth much down the line. So that being the case, they're going to have to issue new currency. So, and I think if a new currency is issued, there's not going to be any type of easy rollout, because they're going to have to devalue it a couple times to get it on par with international standards and stuff like that. So I don't foresee there being a right time, because just like other countries, how if you don't have a currency that people need, the government uses devaluation to prop its currency up. And so like the Argentine peso, they sell bond, they sell dollars, it drives their currency up because they're buying their own currency. So they steadily going like this, but it's going down. Imagine if that happened to whatever currency we have here. There won't be no right time to get rid of it, because I don't think the price of silver will be something that I would want to even exchange for a crypto or a piece of paper in the end. Now, I've heard of other things such as leasing or lending out and not actually losing possession of it and extracting, paper. Let that paper do something for you investment wise, so you can pay on your loan or whatever. So, I like the idea of leasing metals as opposed to solely selling. It says dollar backed by oil and nukes. Dollars do not need murder to the dollars. Dollars do not need murder to be dollars. It says Bush Cheney for hanging. I'm looking forward to seeing those indictments. How about you guys? It says crypto backed by faith and trustees, open source technologies. Backed by faith and trustees, open source knowledge. Yeah, for now, until there's some type of hiccup or malfunction or some type of quantum computer that can possibly crack some of that open source stuff, then we're going to find out how secure these cryptos are. It says lease proof of stake on not taking cryptos. That's a good point. I like that. I like that thought. Currency is a tool. Fed notes are nerve hammer or a hammer. Interesting. It says, how long do you think it would take for somewhat balance things out after the dollar fails? Some say years, others say 6 weeks to a month. Thoughts? Ooh, how many years? How much? The time frame? Here's the thing, man. I don't really believe that you can even begin to come up with an ideal time frame of gaining some sense of what we would want to call normalcy, because right now our living standard is our living standards in comparison to the other billions of people on this planet is abnormally high. It's abnormally luxurious because we can finance everything at this current moment. So I'm looking around, and that's one thing I tend to do, and and that comes from having experience, chance to visit third world countries or whatnot, and just seeing the difference in lifestyles and how we think and everything like that. Because this had to do with the idea of poverty. And so, little side note, Senator or Governor Huckabee shared his thoughts on Fox News today about poverty, and this was all in relevance to Ron Emanuel. But he was saying the government need something about poverty. What he gave for poverty was like, I don't believe in it. I didn't believe in that. And so he said something like, the best thing the government can do is provide jobs for people that can prevent poverty. And I'm thinking like, I don't necessarily agree with that one. And I'm like, but I'm like, oh, okay, but that's because my thought frame, my frame of reference probably a little different. But I'm thinking like poverty to me, when I hear the word poverty, I'm thinking of mindset. And so I don't look at poverty as a lack of a resource or lack of a need. I think of it as a mindset. But yet in another country, or perhaps somebody here might think of it as like, you lack something. And so I'm thinking like, man, so that right there we can go back and forth on what poverty is, but I'm thinking like poverty is a mindset. And so my thought process is, instead of the government looking to be in the job industry and give jobs, why not give people information that then will lead to knowledge and awareness, and this will hopefully build confidence so people can recognize all the opportunity around them. And so I'm thinking like, but that's just different. That's just me. But we have a caller. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, good evening. My name is Brian. I'm calling from Delaware.
Brian from Delaware. How you doing this evening, my friend? What's on your mind?
Hey, man, not too much. I mean, I've been watching a lot of banking videos lately, and I just want to let you know that some consider me, I guess, an insider, but I do work for a too big to fail bank, and I think we're about to see a lot of changes.
Okay. So shine a little light on us, kick some knowledge to us. What type of changes do you foresee?
Sure. So I've worked in the fixed income space, U.S. Treasury clearance, Fed clearance. I'm currently working in private equity.
Okay.
But I can tell you that the Fed is primarily in control, and the reason why they're keeping 10-year rates, as you guys know, the 10-year, 30-year, and the 5-year rates are so low right now is the Fed never stopped quantitative easing. They're just continuing to buy everything. And as you can see, inflation's starting to pick up.
Yeah. Okay, so let me ask you a question. So they're still acquiring assets. They're still making funny money to acquire real tangible goods. And now what methods, in your opinion, are they using? Like, is it to directly fund the banks, or are they actually out in the markets acquiring, or are they using hidden funds, or any insight to share there?
It's a little more than that. Well, when I worked in the Fed clearance space, basically I was in charge of coordinating between the bank and the Fed and the counterparties, or the broker-dealers, basically. And I can tell you right now, nobody wants treasuries. I mean, it doesn't make sense. You buy a 30-year treasury with, say, 3% interest, inflation alone is going to eat your profit.
Yeah.
So when they have these treasury auctions, it's really the central banks buying up the debt.
Yeah.
There's no investors anymore. They've completely destroyed the monetary system as we know it. That's why you can't save money anymore.
Yeah.
Inflation eats it up. So
Yeah.
my message tonight, what I really wanted to get people across as an insider and somebody who does this 10 hours a day, is the start of the beast. Get your cash out now, because pretty soon you're not going to be able to get it out. I can tell you. I think when Q4 earnings are released, it's going to be disastrous. I mean, Deutsche Bank alone is hovering under single digit. You know what I mean? And they have the most derivative risk by far. And really, it's systematic. If Deutsche Bank goes down, they're all going down. So I would tell people to get their cash out, small bills, and buy precious metals, because pretty soon the Ponzi is going to be up.
Woo, that's real talk. I do believe that. And so you say by the end of this year we can experience something. And now, are we talking about the Deutsche Bank domino beginning to fall, or something with the emerging markets debt that trickles back to Germany and Deutsche Bank, or any leading domino do you see?
Deutsche Bank is a big one, because they have the most counterparty risk to derivatives. I mean, you're talking more than most countries' GDP derivative risk. And people don't realize that derivative risk is towards the other counterparties or banks. So Deutsche Bank has trillions of dollars of contracts or derivatives with other banks. So if they go down, they're systematic. There's no way you can bail out Deutsche Bank. And not to mention, the Fed is out of ammo. They can't lower interest rates much more, and if they print more money, they're going to systematically destroy the dollar through hyperinflation.
Yeah. Woo, yeah. So
it's a predicament. But I can tell you, I really do think silver and gold right now is the buy, because I mean, you're looking at silver, you're looking at $14. You can't lose.
Yeah, you can't lose at all, because no matter what, they can try to manipulate the price and drive the actual spot price down, but the premium is going to always be on top of that. So you can always pay a hefty penny and be able to sell it for a hefty penny, just because of the rarity of it and the uniqueness and the fact it is money. So that's interesting, man. So let me ask you another question. So let's just walk through some time. Let's walk through some scenarios of things that could possibly happen. Now, if Deutsche Bank goes down, that's the primary domino that then trickles throughout Europe. It spills over here, heads out east towards China with their problems. Now, do you see because I actually, one of the banking resolutions that was discussed last fall, I actually watched the entire hour presentation. It was for the Fed board members, and they were trying to come up with an easy resolution to resolve an interbanking crisis. And one of their thoughts was they'll shut down the banks for about 2 weeks, or they'll either limit or won't allow the withdrawals for about 2 weeks, and that's their time frame. Now, do you see them if there is some type of systemic event that they would try to actually stick to that 2 weeks, or the immediate bail in, or what?
So that's one of the reasons I'm calling in. I'm telling people to get cash out of the bank. But you don't want to get $100 bills, because they're not going to be spendable. You want to get about $200 worth of $5 bills and about $200 worth of 10s, and then get some 20s. Because if there is a credit freeze, you do not want to not have cash. If you have cash, you can survive. You can go to the store and buy things, especially $5 bills. They're fairly disposable, and very usable. So in a situation with a credit freeze, smaller increment bills would be your best option to have. And of course, you want to preserve your wealth with gold and silver. But your question about a time frame, I'm beginning to see after Q4 earnings come out, I really don't think they can keep it up much longer, because as you can see, I mean, you're watching the stock market, during Q2, they had massive share. They're not going to have that kind of performance on the next earnings. They're not going to have it. It's not going to be there. So the insiders are getting out while the getting's good, and they're going to leave, unfortunately, the pension holders and the retail investors holding. And I'm telling people now to get out, because it's a ticking time bomb.
A ticking time bomb. So that's something else, my friends. I appreciate you calling and sharing that information, and hopefully people take heed. Absolutely. Of course, this is all our opinion. There's no facts behind this, but if you are a rational thinking person and based upon history, you should heed notice, in my opinion. So thank you, my friend, for calling and sharing your knowledge, buddy. I appreciate you.
Hey, God bless, and God bless the people that are about to, face that storm. It's not looking good. So let's keep everybody in our prayers, and you guys be safe, and
Definitely.
Don't let these people steal from you. I mean, I could get into the whole fractional reserve banking and how banks actually don't lend money; they actually create it.
Yeah.
And they're going to steal houses like they always do, and it's criminal. It really is.
Yeah. Yeah, that's very true. So hopefully people
we
wake
won't
up.
go there.
All right, my man. But thank you for calling. I appreciate you. Have a good evening.
Hey, you too, man. God bless.
Thanks, and you. Very good call there. Very good call there. Take heed of advice and wisdom. Man, that's real talk here. That's it's always different to hear it from somebody else that has a what he says a inside opinion on things, having done and dealt with things directly. So he gives a different perspective than just a YouTuber. So being in the banking industry definitely helps. Definitely helps. What other question you guys said? Open Bazaar is better though. What we got? What's 1301? Bank holiday. Yeah, so that's the thing. Like, a bank holiday. That's like I'll actually Google bank holiday bail-in, or I think I did Google bank holiday just to find out if there's been any events that have happened to smaller commercial banks. And of course, there's actually a website. I can't think of it offhand now, but they list all the banks that have basically had problems and been reacquired by other banks that's bigger than them. And there's a lot of banks that go down. I was surprised at the amount of banks that fail, small commercial banks, whether it be credit unions or just regular FDIC banks or whatever. There's a lot of banks that go belly up. And a lot of times they are, it usually happens in a very short time frame, the transactions of another bank coming in and acquiring their assets and taking their liabilities and stuff like that. And then I think the depositors usually get a letter in the mail saying that, welcome to the new, and they give you this new spiel on how it's going to be a better bank. But really that bank went belly up because they had some issues and they got bought out by a different bank. So you have a new bank taking on the problems of an old bank. It just happened to have a little bit more capital, I'm sure, but it one day might have problems, be bought out by a different bank. And so, yeah, it's amazing that all the too big to fail banks have acquired majority of the banks that were from yesteryear. So, yeah, just a little something there. It says, question, why hasn't China and Russia completely dumped all of their dollars? Philman, very good point there, because if they dump all of their treasuries or AKA their reserves, they stand to lose more. They stand to lose a lot. And so if they're sitting on billions of dollars worth of paper-backed IOU or IOU paper notes, if they dump them all, there's going to be a massive sell-off. They won't get no buyers. And then the dollar will tank, and they're going to lose out. So what they don't dump at the same time, they gradually sell off or stop buying and sell what they do have. And they're basically, especially China, they're investing their treasuries and all their Federal Reserve denominated issued debt into their projects, which is the Silk Road, African stuff, and all the projects China has going on is funded by those treasuries there. So they're investing them. It says don't use Google. You haven't seen the news today. Don't use Google. You haven't seen the news today. Stop using Gmail and Google. DuckDuckGo and Proton Mail are DuckDuckGo and Proton Mail are great alternatives. Yeah. So I use all of those, and I recently switched my primary browser to Brave, hoping it's a little bit more, because it's a blockchain type thing. So we'll see how that goes. But what's going on, T? What's going on with Google? Give me the rundown on Google and Gmail. Question the self: why do I pay a bank to hold my money? Repeat it till you have a good answer. That's a good one there. It says Russia and China uses treasuries to buy silver and gold. I do agree. There's one-time delivery will shut down. Brave browser is awesome. Yeah. So Brave browser, DuckDuckGo, and Proton Mail. Yeah, I'm still waiting on my open source encrypted web browser for my phone, operating system rather, for my phone and my computer. Yeah. I would love to have a completely encrypted lifestyle if I could, if that was such a thing. But yeah, so anyway. So the whole subject matter here is the question, and the survey question. So assuming everyone here, hopefully, if you have not as of yet, please go real quick so I can make sure I get a somewhat of an accurate, display of people who had time to vote. But click the link below, take the survey, and then we're going to talk about the results and see if it's of a shock to some or if it's to be expected. So, real quick, for those who have taken the survey, in the chat, let me know. Let me know. Let's get some projections. What are some projections as to what the results might be? And the question was, will the Federal Reserve note be rejected by the world? Yes or no? So give me some percentages. 100% yes, 50-50. Let me some comments in the chat, and we'll see which one is more likely, the real one. Hello, caller. What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hi, Mike. It's Michael from San Diego.
Michael from where again?
From San Diego.
San Diego. How you doing, my friend?
Not bad. I'm enjoying your show.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate you for calling in. What's on your mind this evening?
Try to watch it every day.
Thank you. Thanks for joining us.
I appreciate it. My question to you is, let's say the event, when the banks stop, when money stops flowing and the credit goes down. Do you think because we can't trust the mainstream media, do you think they're going to come out and tell everybody, or do you think it's going to be a thing where people don't find out until they go to the store and they can't use a card, or they go online and they can't buy something? I just wondered what you thought about that, because it's obvious that they're an enemy of the people. And I mean, I know in 2008 they came out right away and said it, but I just wonder if it's going to be different this time.
Oh man, good. Ooh, that's a good one. That would have been a good survey question right there with some options there below it. But
you can use it. Go ahead.
Okay, good deal. I might have to do that. So, what are the mainstream media? What are the mainstream media? More than likely, no.
I mean, I just wonder if it's going to be like breaking news, or if they're not even going to say anything. You have stuff like that.
Yeah,
going on with McCain, and they don't want to talk about it.
Yeah, I don't see it being a breaking news story because it will cause a panic. So for those that don't tune into the mainstream news source that often, if all of a sudden you have, it's predominantly the older population that really sit and watch 247, 62, all those news channels. And so if you had a senior citizen or older person sitting at home seeing a breaking story, banks closed, banks this, you're going to have all these older people rushing out, and then you're going to see a lot of people in the street, and then they're like, what's going on? And then you're going to get something flash across your social media, breaking news, banks, da-da-da-da, whatever. The young folks going to start rushing, so they're going to flood the banks, and that's the powers that be can't have that. So it'll be a matter of a person. I think it'll play out like a person would go to the ATM machine, stick it in, try to get they out, and they'll only be able to, it'll say something, you can only withdraw $40 at this time. That person will take it out, then they'll probably tweet it or social media, and then it'll spread that way, which will be a lot slower than a breaking news story. So it'll happen through social media if they don't bar or remove those type of tweets. So yeah, they can't afford that having like that.
So you think it might be like Cyprus, where all the people that stopped, they all got their money out, and then all of a sudden, then they find out, sometime later. Oh yeah. Oh, my card doesn't work, and then they call their friend, and they call their friend, and they call their friend.
Exactly.
And then it gets around.
Exactly. So those that are in the know, the high net individuals that have shares in banks, they're gonna get a letter first saying September 30th, we're gonna be reallocating funds in a different way. And they usually give those who invested the most to the banks a little bit of a window of time, I believe. And the middle class, lower people who got smaller accounts, they don't really care about us that much. So, the people who know will get their money out, and then the small fries will be stuck with a bare minimum they can get out, if that. So, that's how I think it'll probably play out.
That's terrible.
Yeah, very true, man. But
that's terrible.
That's real. So I got to figure out how to word that in a question. So watch this. Give me that Give me that question, and then give me some A, B, C, D type solutions, and let's see if we can put that out there for a survey question.
Okay, so you want me to come up with some choices?
Yeah, come up with some choices, and then drop it in the comment, and then I was going to say that to the end, where I'm gonna have everybody come up with a survey topic with some options, and then I'm gonna go through it and pick one and post it for the day, and then we can have it for another chat another day. So you get the first take. So go ahead and do that if you like.
Maybe I would. For the first one, I would say maybe notified by mainstream media.
Well, put some thought to it, and then drop in the comment section of this video, and then we'll work on that.
Okay, yeah. If you want me to put it in the chat, I can do that.
Or actually, put in the comment section would be better because I'll read through the chat. I tend not to go back to the chats. So, but thank you.
Yeah, I know. We've been chatting a lot.
All right, my man.
Too much of blabbermouth over here.
It's all good. It's good to have you guys here, man. So definitely look forward to reading your question and the answers. We'll put it out there.
Yeah, I'll definitely I'll pick it up and I'll put it in there for you.
All right, my friend. Appreciate you. Have a good night.
You as well. Thank you.
All right. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, man. That's real talk right there. Voice of the people, man. It's great. It's great to have people call in and share their thoughts and opinions and ask questions. You know, keep the calls coming, everybody. I appreciate you guys. So look at the percentages here. Let me check out these percentages. And so we got 70%, 60, 40. We got 95, 82, 75, 70, 98. So watch this. So, okay, here we go. So I just had another idea. And so we have people that's in the chat sharing their thoughts on what the percentages might be. So the person in the chat right now, who I'm gonna thumb through it. So the person in the chat that has the closest nominal figures to the actual survey when I put it on the screen and we look at it and talk about it a little bit. So the person who has the closest number from the chat, based upon what I'm seeing here, will win a T-shirt. How about that? So if you have not yet, cast your vote here of what you think the survey results will be in percentage terms. And then the person here who has the closest to the figures will win a T-shirt. So I'll give everybody another second or two. If you have not, put your percentages in of what you think it might be. And so there's going to be it's going to be two numbers of yes and no. So out of 100%, give me two different percentages on what you think the results might be. And then the closest, I'll thumb through it again, and we can get you guys get a T-shirt to the winner. How about that? So I see some stuff about EOS. Says Omni, any experience with EOS and voting? Ah, man. So I'm not sure if that's a question to me, but on the voting side of things, no, I'm familiar with EOS or EOS. I familiar with the project. Speculated a little bit in that project, not in a voting form. But I don't know the details other than the fact that what I'm hearing is the fact that the cost of running large projects in the form of a DApp or decentralized app is very expensive. So I'm hearing they gotta iron that problem out, because I think there's so many. What does excite me is the fact there's so many startups, there's so many projects that offer solutions that appear to be very disruptive to the status quo, which are exciting. I'm following a lot of good projects that I'm looking forward to following their results along the way. And so we got 98 and 2, okay, 95%, 82%, 60, 40, okay. Says check out Brave browser ways. What else we got here? It says I prefer Tron at this low price. 7,300 Tron equals $1.50 a day, 1.5 daily, 98%. And so that's another thing. If there's any ties where I can't determine a winner, then I got to figure out how to work that. So I should have come up with better stipulations on how to pick a winner. But if there's somebody that's exact tab, then we gonna roll with them. All right, staking coins. No, OmniBone, staking coins. No, I'm familiar with it. I haven't got into it. I will. Says Mike, those kind of coins are not for speculating, but for earning passive BTC in our situation. Which coins are you referring to? The proof of stake coins, of course. Most of those that offer the opportunity of earning, as they say, passive income. I'm reading up on those and getting involved in more of those because those are of interest. Crypto tech is powerful. 35, no. 65, yes. Okay. So I'm assuming, I'm curious. So if everybody in this chat here had a chance to cast their vote, that will also play into the final decision. And so let's go ahead and see what the actual results are. And so with my very first survey, I threw out a question at the end of the day, I felt I could have reworded it better. But, and so I'm gonna pull it up on the screen, and we can go back and forth a little bit. But yet if there's an exact number to what appears on the screen, the moment that I show you my web browser, then I will thumb through and find a person who has those exact same numbers, and you'll be a winner. So let's see. This is kind of fun. All right, so are you guys ready? Let me get a drum roll. So I'm just playing. All right, here we go. Voila. That's the answer. That is the answer to the question. The very first RTD Live Talk survey. Can you see that? Give me a thumbs up if you can see it. 94% said yes, and 6% said no. So, with that, I'm going to thumb through and see who had that. If anybody had 90, what did I say again? 94 and 6. Did anybody here have 94 and 6? Any 94 and 6? I'm thumbing through 94 and 6. 94 and 6. 94 and 6. I don't see any 94 and 6. I don't see any 94 and 6. So as of now, there's no winner of a shirt rather. 94, any 94 and 6, any 94 and 6. I don't see any 94s and 6. A lot of good guesses, of course. A lot of guess here that I'm thinking like, wow, like 94. I see 95 and 5 is close, but it ain't 94 and 6. 98 and 2. So the closest is 95 and 5. So it looks like there are no winners. There are no winners because the only person who put 94 and 6 here was after the fact, Mr. James, and I don't think you was on time. So with that being the case, there was no winner from this night's survey. But more importantly, let's talk about the survey a little bit. So first, it was just a question came off the top of my head. I'm like, let me go ahead and put it out there in a survey. I've never done a survey before. And let me find out what the results are. And so the fact that out of, let me see how many people. Out of 32 votes, and so of course it's a 24-hour window here. So I'm sure between now and the time this ends, it's going to be a lot. It's going to be more people to vote. But off of 32 votes, so assuming everybody in the chat voted, and then like I said before, a lot of people outside the chat via social media said yes or no, and then probably come here. So it could have been more. But with that being the case, 94 and 6 is the numbers. So 94% of the viewers of this post here said that there will come a day where the world rejects the Federal Reserve note, and there are 6 that said no. And what's more important is this comment at the very bottom. It says, not in my lifetime or yours, but eventually. And so I'm thinking like that, not in his lifetime. And from this picture, if this is him, he looked to be an older gentleman, 67 years old. And he said, in mine. And so I'm a younger gentleman. I'm under 40. And so I'm thinking like, if God gives me the chance to see my senior years, say 70, 80, 90, get whatever. So that's to say 30 to 40 years now, the Federal Reserve note will still be used in the form it is now in other countries. I don't believe that. I don't believe that one bit. And that's where I'm thinking like, And so what I was intending to, the response I was intending to gather from this was, if everyone, and for the most part, I was anticipating more of the viewers of this channel and those that are alternative minded to respond. But I'm thinking like if 94% of the people believe that the dollar will be rejected, then obviously they are aware of alternatives such as precious metals and speculating in probably cryptos or whatever. But the thing is, if you do believe that, then at the end of the day, how much effort or energy are you putting towards helping other people come to that same type of conclusion if they were presented with the same question? Because if you take this question and you pose it to a complete stranger, someone who has no clue about world events, they would probably be like, oh, no, not in my lifetime. No, not even have any real reason to say yes or no. But they would probably more so lean towards no because of the cognitive biasness of their mindset, saying that, of course, the dollar will always be there. Or they might say, what is a Federal Reserve note? But my thing is, if overwhelming 94% people saying that the dollar will be rejected by the world, that leads me to believe that there should be more people willing and wanting to get out here and share, make sure we're sharing information like this. So that whole idea was, if you guys took the survey, if you shared it social media wise, get more people to think about it. These are the type of tools that can be used to get people to inquire about, wow, like, what is these guys talking about? Why would you ask a question like that? You know, of course it's going to be around the type of mindset. Then they can be led to uncovering why this statement here is probably going to be a complete yes, but within our lifetimes, I believe. So I should have clarified a little bit better, but it will definitely be a situation in our lifetime. And then what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you why. I'm going to show you why I believe in our lifetime. And that's because of this graph right here, for sure. Give me a second. Because of this graph right here. Everybody know where I'm going. You know where I'm going. It's this graph right here that needs to be updated, because as of right now, it's 2013 is the last edition here, but it says it's at 5 cents of purchasing power of the original state of the dollar. When it was $1 in 1913, it's 5 cents in 2013. So that would lead me to believe that it's 2018 now. That's 5 years later. And what's real funny is the fact that we'll see that how much longer will we see the same graph and say it might be 2020 right here, and it'll say it's 0.005%. Like, I believe, like I mentioned before, I believe we're already past the point of zero, or sub-zero, as I say. And I say that because if you look at what you can actually purchase for a single unit known as a dollar, Federal Reserve note known as a dollar, in 1913, for one single dollar, that was half a day's wage, flat out, which was half a day's wage, which equaled a cart of groceries at your local grocery store. You could have got milk, a gallon of milk, onion, eggs, bread, all that stuff for $1. $1. You fast forward now with the original purchasing power compared to 5 years ago. What can you get for 5 cents? Nothing. It takes another $1.05 just to acquire anything at the bare minimum. So that lets me know that according to this graph here, we're already below here, because you already need to go into the negative. You need to add to this along with that current 5 cents, 2 cents, 3 cents to actually acquire something. So that hints at the idea the dollar's already going sub-zero. So if when this thing goes whoop off the cliff, that's called hyperinflation. But that's just me. That's just me. So let me know your thoughts on that. So let's talk about this a little bit. So if the world will reject the dollar one day, that means it'll come a day when this thing here is visible. Now the question will be, will the Federal Reserve actually print their latest model of the purchasing power of a dollar, this same graph that they usually print? Will they actually be honest enough to say, boom, it's negative? Like, when it goes negative, that's sub-zero. That means that you got to add to that, because there's nothing left out of this single dollar here, which is already the case. So it's already sub-zero according to this. Now the next biggest test, if you really want to use a true measuring test, is to put $100 bill here, or even a 10 or 20, and see where it's at in comparison to what you can acquire in 1913. And then we'll see if there's a little bit of some change left. Might be, if you put a $10 bill here, it's good to say that it might be 30 cents right now. So anyway, that's due to this monetary system we're in, which can't last forever. Question, it says, how high can the stock market truly go? Unlimited paper. How high can the stock market go? I think the stock market's here can go as high as the central bank wants it to go, because all they have to do is directly start injecting funds openly, which they will probably do when this next market correction happens. Because if the Dow plunges 60, 70, 80%, they're going to try to resolve that issue by pouring in, quantitative easing, or whatever they're going to call it, to buy assets directly off the stock market. So I believe that's part of the plan, because they're already the biggest mortgage owner in the world. So Yeah, it's just a matter of time. They're going to buy everything tangible. It's amazing how you can buy tangible with nothing. Only a banker. Only a banker. Man, if we could all be bankers, yeah, that'd be good. Says, let me say, read the next question I asked. Which one was that? What happened when investors' faith fizzle on that paper? What happens when the investors' faith fizzle on our paper? We're talking about, what we talking about, the so-called claims on the shares of stock, or are we talking about actual fiat currency? It says, what happens when the investors' faith fizzle out of the paper? When the faith is, when only thing remaining is our current military might and the faith and confidence of the credit of our government, which Uncle Sam has already tapped out. So once it become a mainstream topic, people will lose faith. And, I think the best example of what to expect can be compared to what's happening in Venezuela right now. But yet it'd be 10 times worse for us because we as a country are living well beyond our ability to, we're living well beyond our means as a nation because of credit. It says we are in a digital age. I do agree. It says buy food, gold, silver, whatever you need. Very true. To follow, unlimited to follow. It says food, water, pot, gold. Start saving and selling off in fates. Fails off and fails. I can't read that one. 36,000. Yeah, I remember back in the day. I remember when I was covering this whole Dow, how high could it go? At that time, it was like 17,000. And I had Fabian Calvo on the show. And he was saying like, oh, the Dow can go to 20,000, 25,000, 30,000. At that time, I'm like, ooh. And that's another thing. Around this time frame, we always anticipate there's going to be a correction. There's going to be a crash. There's going to be this. We've yet to have anything because they've always found ways to prop things up, which is always great because it gives us more time. And it gives us more time, A, to prepare in whatever form we can, but more so also to enjoy. Because another thing I mention all the time is the fact that right now might be as good as it will be for this country for a very long period of time. So right now, having the opportunity to take a travel somewhere, to enjoy yourself, to enjoy the opportunity of being able to go to your grocery store, and just, we need to be really appreciative of the privilege we've been given by having the Federal Reserve note as the world reserve currency, because it's given us a lifestyle that in 5, 10, 15, 20 years won't be the same. That's why I say I believe my children's adulthood years will be a lot different than mine. So that's why I always try the best to remain grateful for whatever, so-called problems I'm experiencing, whatever. So that's just a little side note, for you guys as well. So let's talk a little about the graph. What are you guys' thoughts on the graph? Are you surprised or what? Like, were you expecting 50-50 or were you expecting more no's or what? I'm curious to find out. And on top of that, based upon this comment here, do you think it'll happen in your lifetime? Because according to this gentleman here, believes it will not happen. I believe it is happening right now, given the whole de-dollarization and the idea that you have all this additional infrastructure being built and all these forums taking place, and the U.S. hasn't been invited to none of it. So with that being the case, yeah, we're experiencing it right now, in my opinion. So 50-50 at most, I thought. Yeah, and so I imagine if I would probably given it more time to get this survey out and probably did a better job of putting it everywhere or whatever, we could have had more non-alternative media people coming across this and sharing their thoughts, which would have made it 50-50-ish, because we had a lot of people that's probably still asleep and just completely clueless about the monetary system and the economy in general that would have said, oh, no, it'd have been more no's, hands down. But for 94.6, I wonder the people who chose no, how many ever there were of that. I'm wondering, are they alternative-minded individuals that just don't believe it's going to happen in their lifetime, such as the gentleman here, assuming he picked no. But anyway, it's just this stuff to put out there to see where everybody's at, man. So I'm looking forward to sharing future surveys. So I'm going to actually work on a survey for tomorrow and have it out there for you guys and make it a giveaway. So if anybody gets the exact answer, you're going to win a chance to win a T-shirt if you're interested in having one for free. I'll send it to you, ship it to your house, wherever you want me to ship it to, for free, just for participating in the survey. So I'm gonna make that known. Win a T-shirt if you guess right. But anyway, so before we log off tonight, as I mentioned to the caller who called in about sharing survey topics and whatnot. So after this video, in the comment section, leave your thoughts. Also, what I'm probably better off doing is all these social media feeds here, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. If you guys are on there, go on there and, you know, subscribe, follow, like, so that when I share those surveys and stuff on those platforms there, you can reshare it so it can get out to more people, so we can get more people tuning in and having a chance to, you know, go back and forth on this type of information, because just having a survey in front of you, it lets you know where the majority of people who do the survey stand. So it might be surprising or it may not be surprising. So with that being the case, I want you guys to come up with some survey topics for me. So what I'll do is for tomorrow, my Telegram. I want you guys, I'm trying to add more people to the Telegram so that I can have access to talk to you directly, as well as be able to share information with you in a way it's a decentralized platform, to where it's something where I'm not worried about it being taken down if it gets too out of hand. So with Facebook, all these other places, they can shut you down in a minute. Telegram is geared towards, as well as DTube and things like that, geared towards allowing you to speak your mind without having to worry about being censored. So that's why I'm encouraging people to go to Telegram. So for tomorrow, though, share a question in the comment. I'm gonna grab a question out of the comment, turn it into a survey, put it out there, and then let's come back tomorrow night and have a little back and forth on what's happening. And so before I let you guys go, we got one more call. And caller, what's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey man, Dave down in Texas.
Dave down in Texas. How you doing this evening, my friend?
All right, man. I just want to call in and say hey, and appreciate what you do and enjoy it very much. And just want to also just throw that internet, a thought out for us. You're talking about the banking system and the credit system breaking down, a lot of delivery and on-time delivery stuff. How truckers get their invoices, just through the credit snap of the push of the button. And when all that breaks down, and all these deliveries and things like that aren't going to really quite work that well. So,
yeah.
That's when you get your supply chain breakdown,
Yeah, man. Logistics will be a true issue, because as you mentioned, once credit freezes up, everything's going to shut down in between. And another thing is, a lot of corporations' payroll is based upon extended credit. So they borrow money to make their payroll, then they pay it back. So that's how they usually stay in point with their payroll.
Right.
So with that being the case, there's going to be a lot of people not getting a paycheck on that last day of their employer, and that's going to cause straight up pandemonium if people don't get paid on that Friday like they're expecting. And then house foreclosures,
pension checks, and things like that too.
Yeah. So and that's the thing. Like, people really don't believe that stuff can happen, but it's happened all around us. Why wouldn't it happen to us one day? So that's what I never put United States of America or my nation or this country on a pedestal saying it can't happen to us. So that's why I'm realistic, and that's why this survey, I think, plays into it, because it can happen to anybody. And I feel for those it's happening for, and the goal is to reach as many people as we can to help them, let them know that it could happen to them too. So, but yeah, man, thanks for the call. Appreciate you. Go ahead.
Yeah, man, that's when the blockchain would really take over, and if they could flip over to that, if that was prepared and ready, that would be great, but I don't know if it's this pause between the crash and the rise of the new system that's going to hurt a lot of people.
Yeah, I do agree. So that's the thing, that one of the questions earlier was the time frame of getting back up and running. And I'm like, we've never, to my knowledge, experienced something of this type of magnitude in the digital age. So everything is computerized now. So if the computer system go down, all that stuff is wiped away, whatever. Rebooting it and then getting people to adjust to whatever's issued will be the issue, because there's no time frame you can put to that, because a lot of the older people, there'll be no time for the adoption curve to realize the whole crypto stuff, the blockchain stuff. That's what they're trying to work on now. So I think the whole crypto idea that's being proposed now is to buy time so that people can get adjusted to the thought of going solely crypto, blockchain, or whatever. So they may try to hold this thing off.
It'll get local too,
Yeah.
It'll be local. Community will come back, but we've been designed to be so individualistic in our lives that we are self-sustainable of ourselves. We don't know our neighbors as well as we should. We don't have that community.
Yeah.
Like an Amish building a barn, everybody shows up and builds the barn, but it'll develop as that happens. But the ones that are already semi-community oriented will have a better start than a lot of people that don't have those community connections with each other.
Right. I do agree, 100%, my friend. So yes, once again, the biggest thing is community.
Well, I appreciate it, man.
Thank you, my friend. Thanks for calling in. Appreciate you.
Bye.
All right. Have a good night. Yeah, man, that's real talk. That is real talk there. So we're going to cut it in. We're going to draw it to a conclusion right there, that call there. Everybody, appreciate you guys for calling in. Thanks for sharing your thoughts on the survey and whatnot. And, I came up with an idea to try to get somebody a T-shirt. So I'm going to probably try to add in some more goodies to incentivize people to participate in the survey and share it, of course, and stuff like that. So other than that, it's just fun to find ways to try to reach more people, new people, so that we can try to wake up and inform as many people as we can. Because here's the biggest thing, and this is what I've realized, that once you are aware, you are then held accountable. Knowledge brings power. Power in the fact that if you're aware of what's happening, and to sit back and not share it and not be led to share it, that's probably considered inhumane, I believe. So I believe, the fact that everyone's here watching, you're aware, you know something, make it your responsibility to use your gifts in some form of capacity to share with others so other people can wake up and have a chance, the same chance that you have now to prepare. Think about this. However you came to your truth of realizing that everything around you was an illusion, you're now unplugged from the matrix, you're now aware, you're making preparations. Imagine if someone didn't tell you, or imagine you didn't watch that video that got you to think, and imagine if that event didn't happen in your life and you were still asleep. Wouldn't you want to be woken up? Wouldn't you want somebody to tap you on the shoulder and say, hey, man, you stand the risk of losing it all? You know what I'm saying? Look at this. Read this book. Watch this YouTube video. Check out this seminar, whatever it is that woke you up. Share it with somebody else. Pay it forward with knowledge. So anyway, I can go back on and on and on with that. But anyway, everybody's been great as always. Thank you guys for tuning in. Give me a thumbs up on this video so more people can see it. Share this video if you found it informative. And also leave a comment down below with your comments for the survey and options for it. Let's try to pick one. And then also, I'll see you guys tomorrow night, another time, another day. And other than that, stay prayed up, be blessed, and I'll see you later. Peace.